Lump sugar.
Thank you, no.
Having made a very, very concrete decision that this was going to be A, a period film, and B, a film on the, ostensibly, in surface terms, about the Victorian theatre, and specifically about these guys who actually existed, Gilbert and Sullivan. That gave us enough to get the ball rolling.
They were huge at the time, and they were by far the biggest thing in London theatre at that time.
Even for two Victorian gentlemen on fairly, you know, with the whole formality of that period, to call themselves Gilbert and Sullivan by their surname for 25 years was ludicrous. I mean, it was good morning Gilbert, good morning Sullivan. What the hell is this all about? And it really was, they had nothing in common at all. Gilbert, you know, much pricklier and all the rest of it. Sullivan, much more sociable, affable, mixed with royalty, loved the good life, ladies' man, all those things. And also was expected by the musical establishment to be the #1 British composer. More than a trifle.
What fascinates about these guys is that they put a huge amount of time, effort and energy and angst into creating something deeply trivial. They did it very well, but it is absolutely trivial, basically, and was immensely popular.
Princess Ida, when the show was a comparative flop, led to an enormous amount of tension and a possibility that the partnership would
action. We spent 6 months in rehearsal, and that means 6 months spent exploring, investigating, researching, making the characters happen, really establishing the whole premise of the film. As always, towards the end of that period, I wrote a structure within which to then go and build the film sequence by sequence, by working from improvisation into a highly polished and finished piece of action, each sequence at a time in the location. So, in a way, one brings each element of the film to a head, or to the boil, at the time of actually shooting it.
You're each, you know, on your own little solitary paths. For weeks and weeks and weeks, I was doing my own research, reporting only to Mike. Did not even meet Jim for, I can't remember, but it was something like 6 or 7 weeks, I think.
You can't really plan your life in any way, and you can't really plan the work either, because it grows organically, so you just go with it and develop it from what you...
Don't realise that when you are in front of the camera, you absolutely know what you're saying. You absolutely know when you're going to say or are or pause, or, you know, it is very, very carefully constructed.
Congratulations.
All clicks into place like 2 days before you start shooting. You're still not quite sure. It's all really murky, and then it all just goes like that, and it all just seems to magically kind of happen, you know. But it's not magic. It's not like anything mysterious. It's all just because you've just gone A to B to C to D to E, you know, and it's a work in progress. It's not, you know, just stuff plucked out of the air, you know what I mean?
I didn't know what was required because we had to research so much. I didn't know if I knew enough so that I could call on it in an improvisation if it was required. So that was very scary, getting your facts right, and just the way they spoke, everything like that, the way they sat, just all these things that you had to investigate.
Hopefully, what is going to be good about this film is that, it's accessible, and B, that it makes them interesting, and it's not sort of some strange Victorian chocolate box biopic.
It doesn't presume you know anything about it, and I think that Mike's been very rigorous in that, in structuring the film, and he's not just playing to the converted. He's actually, I mean, he's got such a passion for it. It seems to me he's wanting to share it, really, and to share it with people who perhaps aren't.
Much of Topsy Turvy is taken up with seeing people do the job with some pain and difficulty of arriving at this forgettable, polished souffle. And that's fascinating to me.
Well, gentlemen, I don't know about you, but speaking for myself, I could murder a pork chop.